Welcome back, y'all. I'm Camille.
And I'm Gretchen. We are starting over the podcast. We're so glad that y'all are here today.
Yes.
I believe this is our, I want to say like 38th.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought we had more than that. What the? Oh, I guess
We're good.
we need to double up, girl. Double down.
Okay, we're behind apparently, according to Camille.
No.
We're glad you're here. Starting over, in case you're just joining us. First of all, we'd love it if you would like, share, and subscribe, and all that stuff that we got to ask you to do on our YouTube channel. But it's really the premise. I was just talking about this on air today, referring to the phrase of starting over. In life, no matter where we are, we always have the ability to start over because we can think.
Yes.
We always can change a thought.
That's right.
And we can always choose a different way of thinking.
Yeah. Well, and isn't that, when you really realize that you have the power to accommodate, change, stay the same, there's almost like a pause in that. You're the observer. You're not just autopilot.
Yeah.
When you're like, I could actually change this. I could start over. I could just, I'm resetting myself. I'm going to start over.
And it's all about
empowerment.
Exactly. And that's what Camille and I really want to share is we want you to feel that you have a say.
Yes.
Like you have your own power. You are not succumbing to anybody else. You have the ability to think. No one is thinking for you.
Right.
You have the ability to have a good day. You have the ability to have a bad day.
Yeah, only one that can control your mood is you.
Right.
But what if your mood is controllable? What if you can choose your mood? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can, and that's just it. We want to talk today about actually choices, decisions. I think Camille and I were talking about sometimes it's really hard for people to make a decision.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a joke you hear all the time when a guy asks a gal, "Where'd you like to go for dinner?" "I don't care.
I don't
Where
know.
do you want to go?" But what if they really do have an opinion, but they're afraid to say it? What are our whys of being afraid to speak what we really feel?
Well, and I think some people, this has been an experience I've had with some clients, that when they start realizing, oh, I don't have to be the victim. This doesn't have to upset me. I can actually recover from this, or I can write my own story. Wow, okay. So now it is like, well, what do I want? Who am I? I don't know. There is a realness to what do I do now?
Because if you think about it, y'all, if you've lived your life, especially your adult life, where everybody's kind of just, whether it's a church that's made the decision for you on how you need to live, maybe it's a culture, it's family, it's male or woman, man or woman, and everybody else has kind of told you, like, this is what we do.
Yeah, this is how it's supposed to be.
This is how it is. This is what our community does. And you just, I know I've been in that situation.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been in religions where they're just like, this is our perimeter. This is how you need to live within this boundary. And you literally just go like, okay. Yeah. And everybody's the same.
Yeah.
But we're not made up that way. We all have our own thoughts. All have our own opinions, and that's how God made us. It's okay.
Yeah.
So at this stage of what we're talking about, and I don't even want to say this stage of life because this affects kids, teenagers, on up. You get to choose for you.
Yeah.
You just do. Whether it's, primarily we're talking about how you feel. You get to make those choices.
Well, and look, if something's going on in your life and you're just, you are really introspective and you're realizing, I'm not living authentically. I'm not really being me. I have a differing opinion than my family and the religious leaders I'm with or whoever, right? My husband, my wife, my best friends. If you find yourself going through kind of a change or you're just pulled back, it just doesn't feel right to do that anymore. It's not authentic for you. That's actually kind of a sign of independence. And I notice this happens with 16, 17-year-old, 18, like when they're ready to leave home, they have to start thinking for themselves. They have to start determining things for themselves. And if they're not self-determined and they're still codependent on you as a parent or whatever, then they're going to have a harder time. Now, what happens? They pick fights. We fight with our teenagers because they need to start getting independent, and they really want you to believe in them so they can believe in themselves, and so they'll test you. But they're really testing themselves. They're testing their limits, but they're testing to see if they really can make it without you.
I was thinking too, I remember I lived in a neighborhood one time when my kids were younger, and it was almost like there was this competition between the moms.
Oh.
Like how many
religious
merit badges did your son get? Because mine got all of these. And how up to date are your scrapbooks?
Oh.
And, Well, my daughter is, she's in competitive dance and she made solo and all of these things that
Can't stand it.
it's easy to find yourself like questioning. Am I a
doing
good
it?
mom? Am I doing enough? Are my kids enough? Am I, is my house clean enough? And I think sometimes in the name of a neighborhood or friendships within a community, we tend to kind of compete with each other.
yeah.
And that's a very
Toxic.
lonely, toxic place because why are we comparing ourselves with somebody that we're supposed to be supporting?
Well, it's kind of the clique thing, and like everyone's gone to high school or school, and isn't it like that? You got to have the certain fashion, you got to look a certain way, have that certain haircut, But as we get older and we graduate these places, and you start thinking for yourself, you don't want to fit into that. I mean, there's times where in places where things you need to quit, people you need to quit.
Yeah.
And you really can't be yourself until you do quit.
Yeah. I actually was just working with a client yesterday and we were talking about it's okay to graduate from people.
Yes.
And it's okay to still love and care about them, but you're not associated because what happens is as you elevate your thinking and as you elevate yourself, you become in a level that's not above people. I'm not saying that. No. I'm saying expectations of what you desire in yourself.
Yeah.
If you're not getting that with that person because they're not meeting those expectations for them, doesn't feel right. Yeah. It's like, when you're an honest person and you're in a room with somebody that's telling a lie, it doesn't feel right. It's you just know like there's something off. And so when you're around somebody that maybe you've elevated and you no longer are going to tolerate somebody telling you how to think and feel or how you should do this or how you should be a mom or whatever it is, you've grown past that. It doesn't feel right. Yeah. And it's okay to leave those people. You can still love them, but you don't have to. You can love from a distance.
Well, and you got to love yourself enough to honor how you're evolving and changing.
Because you matter.
Yeah.
And I think as adults, sometimes we kind of hang on to, well, what's the group decision here? Mm-hmm. What's the group saying we need to do? Mm-hmm. I remember like, if one decorating fad was in, something that was going around in the neighborhood, everybody felt like they had to do that too.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have their kids and this musical instrument. Oh, then I better do that too.
Yeah.
And I spent so many years thinking that was the way to be a mother.
Yeah.
That was a way to parent. And all I was doing was trying to fit into a neighborhood that nobody was really being themselves anyway. It's like you remember like in junior high or high school when you had that one friend that was in a group of us and they always chose like where we're going to go eat for lunch. They got to make the decision every time and the rest of us were like little hens like, okay.
I'll follow along.
Okay,
Yeah.
And we can do that as adults too.
Yeah. Well, and I think we kind of tend to do that. But when something happens, when life's on us and like, you get fired from a job and you have to reinvent yourself. When there's a strain or a struggle or there's some sort of pain that you're dealing with, you got to reinvent yourself on the inside. And sometimes you hear in some communities, well, if you were living right.
Oh, yeah.
If you were living right, then that would not be
Jesus would not have to teach you this lesson.
Or it's like something bad's happened. You lost your job. You're sick. You have you're sick.
Oh, man, I heard that. You got cancer?
You deserve
must not
that.
Be living right.
Must have deserved that. So it's and OPIs, other people's issues and other people's opinions. You have to get to the point where you just don't care, and not that you're insensitive, but for your own survival, you can't give a right.
You really can't. Abraham Hicks actually talks about that. You should really get to the part where you give a flying rat's ass about what anybody thinks about how you're living your life.
Yeah.
Because, we teach our kids, hey, be independent, think for yourself. Don't go with just whatever all the crowds are doing. But we get as adults, and sometimes we have a really hard time making that decision. What am I? Who am I? What do I believe?
Yeah.
And if I believe and I state, I think you see this a lot, but a lot of times when people are divorced and they're getting to know themselves, maybe for the first time in 30 or 20 years or whatever it's been, they don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Because they've been in a situation where somebody else has already thought for them.
Yeah.
They're
decided for
always
them.
making those decisions based on what somebody else agrees is good or not.
Well, it takes courage to start over. It takes a lot of courage to quit people, quit places, quit things, and start over. And but yet you have the power to do so. And that's what we're really trying to say is, it isn't like it's going to be easy. Sometimes it is easy just to go, I walk away, I'm done. But when you've got people, and I had this experience actually this week, young kid, his brother always sees him as, he calls him a drama queen. So he's always drama. He's always doing something that looks like he's just seeking attention. And my client is trying to kind of reinvent himself and have different dialogue with his family. But he's typecast. He's seen as little brother. You're never going to amount to anything. And that was purely clear today. Like literally the text messages. Look, this is just how you are, dude. I can't see you any other way. Literally said that to his brother. And I'm like, okay, now you pull back. What does that do to you? Right. If you really feel like you're stuck in that identity, you're wearing that hat all the time. That's just how he sees you. His perception of you is this. Is that true? Well, it always has been true. So he throws a waste of his life. He doesn't win. He plays small. And so he's got a choice to make because he's at a crossroad. Are you going to continue to live to make your brother feel comfortable? Or are you going to live for you? So he's starting to pull away. He's got this girl that's helping him, expand a business. He's trying to make lots of money. And his brother, I think, is uncomfortable, 9 years older. But I'm watching the power as he steps into his authentic self. And he has to quit caring what his brother or other family thinks
Anybody.
To be able to win. And so if you might be out there thinking, I can't start over. I can't change. We've had this. A few people have sent us in questions and stuff. Well, what do I do when I can't change? I mean, I got this going on. I got that going on. A lot of it's about the judgment of others. We're terrified of the judgment of others, of what they're going to think of us, what they're going to say to us, or they're going to say to our family, or they're going to make us look bad because we want to change, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying just run out and quit doing whatever. You've got to be strategic about it.
Sure.
But you have to look, at some point, to thine own self be true. That's where we all have to get.
One of the techniques that Camille and I teach is the mirror effect, where you actually, without anybody around, you look in the mirror, you look in your left eye, and you look to know who you are.
Yeah.
You learn to talk to yourself. You learn to say, you're not going to go down the road of, I wish I was 10 pounds thinner, or I wish I had this, or I wish I had hair, or whatever it is. You're actually going to say, you know what? I really love my heart. I really love how I love people. And I really love how my teeth are shaped. You find things about you. You get to know who you are, where you trust your opinion. You trust what you think, that you don't have to sit and depend upon somebody else deciding for you.
Yeah.
We talked about this, 10% of our brain is what we think of and what we function on in life.
Amazing.
But the 90% is your subconscious thoughts. And subconscious thoughts are primarily made up of ideas that we have been told.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So again,
someone else's opinion.
Or I'm just a product of my environment.
Yeah. This is how I am.
I've always been overweight, or money never is easy for me. These are narratives that we have told ourselves that subconsciously we think about, we marinate on it, we talk about it all the time, and that's what keeps showing up in our life.
Well, and that's what's true for us. Right. If we keep living that world, and then what we put out there comes back. That's exactly there's evidence of that. So that's true.
Right.
But how do you make a change? You have to go back and start over and say, what results do I want in this area?
Right.
And there's a process to go through to do that, but you have to realize that it's possible to change.
Any time. That's why starting over is so important. So as you pull apart these beliefs that no longer are serving you, now you have a hole that you want to fill. So what do you want to do? You want to fill it with positive stuff, which is why the mirror therapy is so important. Mm-hmm. Or affirmations, when you believe them. Words don't matter, but when you really believe them.
It's the energy,
Start with something small. Like, you know what? Like, I'm really good at driving. I'm really good at cooking. I'm really, it doesn't matter what it is. It's not for anybody else to agree with.
No.
Or to, confer, like, yes, you are. No, actually you're not. This is not about somebody else. This is how you get your own power, where you can say definitively, this is what I made this decision. This is how I feel. This is how I am. This is what I'm doing.
Yes.
Because it feels right with you.
Yes. That's
Even people that come across and that really, that I think, not to go down politic road, but if you think about Trump, he's very strong in how he feels.
Yes.
He's very adamant, and he's very conscientious about, look, this is how I feel. I'm not going to apologize for it.
That's right.
Right? So you know where you stand with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
we need to be at a place in our lives where we have convictions.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be talked out of something.
Or
I
talked
don't-
into something.
Or talked into something. Gravity is what it is. You
right.
can't convince me gravity isn't what it is. I just know that it is what it is, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so I'm very firm in that. What else are you firm in?
Yes.
What else do you really believe in that is core to you?
Well, and people, I think, have grown up without the ability to say no. If they told their
Oh,
parents
it's gonna be
no,
offensive.
yes, or no, that's what our religion that you have to go along with. You won't belong to us if you push back and say no. But what if there's a time to say no? What if you saying no to them is saying yes to yourself?
Exactly. And that has to happen, y'all. That is critical in gaining your own power, because when you don't say no or you don't say yes and you want to,
Yeah,
you've automatically said to yourself, I don't have that power. I don't believe in myself. I'm not strong enough to do that.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter how much you've made that person happy. You haven't put any deposits into you.
yeah.
And you can't have your confidence. You can't move forward with conviction on how you feel and what you believe and what you know to be true to your core unless you start with your own decisions.
And I think a great place to start with what we do with our clients is, look, you have to look at what you're doing purely out of obligation. I have to, or my mother's gonna be upset if I don't show every Sunday dinner. You have to look at what you're doing only because other people want you to.
Right.
And you really don't want to. And I'm not saying quit everything at once, because that's gonna overwhelm you. You're gonna get a lot of hate and text. But if you're doing something just purely out of obligation and duty to that other person, or there's some sort of routine to it, if you're done with it and you know you're done with it, that's where you start being authentic with yourself. And you start making a list of things I'm purely doing as a pleaser. I want to make people happy, because and we don't quit as a society. Americans, we don't quit. We're going to stay the course. We're going to stay forever.
Right.
But I'm telling you, there's a time and a season to quit people and quit things. And if you never do, then you will never evolve to the next level. And what we're talking about here is once you get really true and authentic about yourself, and it doesn't have to be mean or ugly. You don't have to really try and hurt anybody. It's just speaking from your own core. Your calling, who you really are, shows up after that. It's like you start developing yourself, and you can't live a lie anymore. Like when you can't live a lie anymore, I'm telling you, the universe matches you and it says, okay, now you're being authentic. You're being you. There's an opportunity here for you. It will level you up in all areas. I promise.
And that's where your confidence comes in. And then you'll never, ever again deny yourself.
Yeah.
You'll never, ever again agree with something that doesn't feel right to you, because you know, just like gravity, you know what it is. You know what it is, right?
And there's power in the truth.
And every time you feel that power, you gain more confidence. And when you gain more confidence, then you're knowing who you are. You're knowing your value and your worth, not to somebody else, but to who you and God have, what that relationship.
That alignment. That's right. That's right.
What is like, this is what it is. This is the part of starting over that we're talking about. You're never doomed, ever.
No.
Ever.
Well, and I think the truth does set us free. And I am just amazed at the magic of telling the full truth. Like when you're in a relationship and you're really holding back and you're not really being authentic, both sides are doing that. Okay, if you're doing that other person's doing it. You don't feel like you can be yourself. But when you can speak your truth and you're authentically saying, again, not in a mean way, this is where I'm at. That person has to see you newly. And how you keep a relationship going that's healthy is you continue to be authentic and honest.
Yeah.
And you choose
true.
it. You choose every day. If you're going to be with that person, you're going to choose to be truthful. And you got to be with someone that wants you to be authentic and truthful. And so if that isn't happening, can't happen, maybe you got to get authentic and see what works for you.
See what works for you. We appreciate y'all being here. Starting Over podcast is what we're doing. We do have a YouTube channel as well. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.